If you slice the golf ball, you get to promise me two things. You're going to start to now swing that golf club flatter, and then on the way through, release that golf club more. Those two elements alone will straighten up your ball flight. And I promise you, this is one of the golf tips that you have never thought of, but will have a huge impact on how you hit the ball. There are 5 simple stages that I want you to follow. But before we get into them, I want you to understand this. And I say this to students. If you're a big slicer of the golf ball, or you have a slight left to right tendency as a right-handed golfer, you want to hit the ball really hard because you're trying to make up for not a very efficient impact. By doing this, you can swing a lot slower. And honestly, when I say slower, I mean it. Really, you can. So I want you to understand this. If I hold my most lofted club up, my 58, and I put the club almost flat to the ground, look at the lie angle relative to the ground. It's quite vertical, isn't it? Okay, now I place my driver in the same position where the toe is slightly off the ground again. Look at the difference. Now this is really important to understand. We've got to understand that this is our longest club in our bag and should be swung on the flattest plane around our body. We've just got to let you do that. We don't want to fight that. So just get that in your head there. Look at the difference in the angle. There's a bit here, isn't there? That is what we've got to understand. This is the flattest club, and if you don't get this right, there's no wonder you slice it. Now, if you're wondering where we get all the ideas from these videos, well, we're featuring questions about, Alex, how do I stop my slice? I have tried everything. I have not tried this though. Now, if you want to get involved with this channel, it's really quite easy. Just pop your question down below. It could be about driver, it could be about your irons, it could be about your fairway woods, your hybrids, anything. I'm powered by you, the viewers, so pop it down below. And as long as you've subscribed and turned on the bell, I'll then pick your question and I'll feature it here in a full video. Now, you make sure you hit the bell because you don't want me to answer it and you miss it, because then it's absolutely pointless, isn't it? And then you're not going to improve. So think about it. Hit the subscribe button and turn the bell so you really can dial in your game. So we understood that now, haven't we, together? You can visually see the difference between when I had my shortest club to now my driver. So one thing I want you to check is your hand position at address, okay? And I want you just to get it to be natural. And what I would say is natural is around about here, in the sense of there's a little bit, and we'll show you this close now, a little bit of my toe of my club off the ground. It's not here, it's not up. It's really important to understand that I don't want your arms to start in one line here. I want there to be a little bit of cupping and a natural form. So if I'm in golf posture now, armpits over my toes, my hands are hanging down naturally, and just have a look closely there what that does to my club face. So please start off by checking that. That's stage 1. Stage 2, we've got to understand this. As you make your stroke, naturally, your hands will lift in this golf swing. Now, you can imagine this, right? If you start up here and they lift higher, this club face is always just going to point to the right. No matter how you try and save it, there is only going to go one way. Aiming to the right, going to the right, and slicing to the right. So just understanding that, I always want you to start with them a bit lower, because the understanding is that the hands will naturally, just as anybody makes their stroke, no matter who you are, the hands will get a little bit higher. So let's get into stage 3 now. We're really starting to work into the mechanics of what I'm looking for. So I say to my students, imagine you draw a line through my shaft here. Halfway back, can you imagine you're matching that line? So it's not here, I'm not taking it up here, I'm really trying to match the line through the line here. Complete my backswing and then back down this line. I'm really trying to feel like I'm swinging on the same plane. So my circle I'm making around me isn't inverted up, it isn't too flat. I'm trying to match exactly where I am. So just do this to me. Don't even need a ball and a tee peg, just move that out of the way. I think sometimes we go too early to hit some shots. So just break some practice swings now, match it on the way back, swing, match it on the way through. Now look what I'm doing here, match, match. Can you see how my arc of my swing is all around me in this area here? That's stage 3, making a few practice swings, just understanding that I want you to match The playing angle, you start with halfway back as best you can. Now the fourth piece of this puzzle, we need to start looking at this club face. We've done everything we can down at address, apart from checking your grip like you always see. I know a lot of people already have done that, but we've got the hands lower. We've got the understanding that they rise naturally. We started to swing the club flatter, but I want you to now focus on, as our hands on the way down past our hip height, I want you at this point, have a look at this in player camp, to be able to see 2 knuckles, okay? And then as we come into impact, be able to see 1. Then on the follow through, at this point where our hands are around shoulder height, see none. So let me tell you those reference points again. We've made our flatter swing back. We're swinging down. I want you to be able to see 2 knuckles. We're coming into impact. I want you to be able to see 1. And then on the follow through around shoulder height, I want you to see none. So if you look at that and we said, on the way down, the most important part of our swing is from hip height to shoulder height on the way through. That is absolutely vital. So just make a few practice swings. I'll just go this side of the golf ball where I match the shaft angle on the way back. I swing, I release that club. I really want you just to look at what I'm doing there and through. I'll do this one from face on so you can really see it too. I match it, I swing it, I release it, I'm through. Now watch this ball flight. And take into account, this is stage 5 now. I said this at the start. Reason why you're putting loads of power in is because you're just cutting and glancing the golf ball in that direction. Now we're moving it over in that direction because we've got a better plane, a better start, a better club face. This is how you play better golf. So just hit some away. I think the way to quantify this, I tell my students, is think about gears in a car. If gear 5 is your fastest, let's try and hit some now at gear 2 to 3, okay? Gear 2 to gear 3, which for me is sort of around this pace. Get your set up, feel you match it, and watch the ball flight. Look at the shape I just hit, with very little effort. Now, if you've been slicing it, and you hit it like that, you would absolutely rip my hand off for that. So really nice and simple. Think about the start, the understanding of how they raise, the plane of your swing, then the release on the way through. And I know with driver, you're going to wish you've tried this sooner.